Today's topic is the 90-day remote onboarding toolkit. So basically a deep dive and more details of how we onboard our talents, our hires. So a little bit about myself. I'm Dave and the founder of Design Source Media, which is a web agency, and the founder of DSM Talent, where we help other agency owners find talent in the Philippines. And I've been running my agency for 14 years now. I currently manage a team of 21, and a husband and father of four crazy kids. Okay. They're not always crazy, but sometimes. So you can imagine, right? I am also quite busy. And if I could do it, you can do it too. So today's session, these are the key points, right? The final financial cost of bad onboarding. So this is how important onboarding is. Don't F it up. A live deep dive of what our 90-day onboarding toolkit looks like. So I'm going to dig right into it and you can see what it's like. And then personality and cultural fit, then QA and implementation. Okay. So cost, let's talk about the cost of a bad hire, right? It's about 30% of your first year's earning. So let's just say in the US, if you can find someone, for 50K a year, chances are of a video editor is going to be more than that. But it's going to cost you 15K. Bad hire of a video editor, yeah. And remote, let's say from the Philippines, is going to cost you about 20K a year. But even then, you're losing $6,000 a year with a bad hire. So make sure your onboarding is on point. Retention. 3 years, 69% of employees or team members are more likely to stay for 3 years if your onboarding is great. If your onboarding sucks, you just throw them in, here you go. Just edit these videos. Like, okay, I need more information, more context. What is our objective? Who are our customers? Where are the files? What is your preferences? Who do I talk to? They're going to quit. They're not even going to make it in the first 3 months, let alone 3 years. 45 days, 20% of turnover happens in the first 45 days. So make sure your onboarding is there. Make sure you invest your time, have the system help guide the individual. So productivity gap, right? 50% greater new hire productivity in 3 months. So over a 3 month period. So you're going to, what I mean by this is that you're going to get a 50% increase in productivity over 3 months. After the 3 month training period, that's how long our onboarding is. You're going to get a 50% increase compared to not doing an onboarding at all or having a poor onboarding process. Just imagine getting 50% more, right, out of your talent. And if you don't have a structure, it takes 8 months to reach full speed. So do you want to spend 3 months or you want to spend 8 months? I don't want to spend 8 months, 3 months. So that's the idea. So performance, you want to increase 50% or spend 8 months. So let's deep dive. And basically this is the high overview, but then I'm gonna go right into the sheet that a Google sheet that we use. So day 1 and 2 is foundational building. Day 3 to 10 is we're sharing our systems. And then week 3 is more role specific. And then weeks 5 through 12 is like the growth piece. Let me go right into it. Excuse me. So the onboarding looks like this. Okay, it's maybe a little too much here, but feel free. If you have questions or we're looking at this, we're going through this, drop your question right into the chat. Okay, I also have it open in the other window. So onboarding looks like this. Let's say this is your first day working here. We give you 2 documents. One is our general. Every single hire will get this document. The other document, it looks very similar, but specific to your role. So onboarding document for an EA in this case. So what happens is that you're looking at both these documents and everything is the same day 1 through all the way to week 12, which is our 3 month essentially. And you're going through that. And in the general, there will be areas like rows that will say, go to your role specific one. So that there's already time allocated. Why we did it this way is that this way we have one general onboarding doc for every single hire. This is our standard, our organization standard for every single person that works here. Then the other document is, this is unique to your role, unique to what you need to do to be successful in this organization. So that's why we have a split. So this document is a living document where we constantly update this, at least on a monthly, if not weekly basis. When there's new content, new training material, we ask ourselves, is this something that everyone should be learning? We put in general. Or is this something that unique individuals or unique roles should be learning? So we put it into the role side. Okay, so that's why we have it split like this. So now the first day. So let's pretend that it's your first day, right? Welcome. Welcome to the team. Congratulations. You made it. You survived our grueling recruitment process, right? You went through, for context, you competed with hundreds of candidates. You have passed the assessment. Basically, it's like a 4 to 5 questionnaire with a recording. And you survived at least 2 interviews, sometimes 3. Depending on your role, if you're a video editor, you survive the paid test. And at that point, you're competing with about 2 to 3 candidates that are also doing the paid test. And we gave you the offer and you accepted the offer. So congratulations. You survived the first part. Now, the second part is your first day. And we just dropped this onto your lap. And this is what it looks like. This is your 90-day. Everything is already documented. We have clear estimated time for each of your tasks, all your items that you need to do, and details. And we want to hear your thoughts as you're completing this. Not necessarily every single one, that some of them doesn't make sense, but we want to hear your thoughts. And we'll talk about it at the end of the day. For the next 10 days, you will be talking to your manager or your leader, or in this case, the CEO of the company, the president of the company, twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. Okay. And for the next 10 days. And afterwards, it may be once a day or it may be every 2 to 3 days. Our goal here is to give you a very structured training, set clear expectations, and then give you more and more autonomy. Right now, you have almost zero autonomy, right? It's built that way. So you're not stressed out. You're never ever asking what should I be doing next. But we basically structured it in a way where the training, everything else makes sense. The pacing feels right. So this is essentially 14 years in the making. Okay, so Lucas, yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely. Marian, can you share? So that way you don't have to look at my screen. You can click on the document yourself. So Marian, so she's my EA, she's in the call right now. Can you share the link to the general onboarding in chat?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you. So the first day is the paperwork. Simple, right? Everyone does that. So NDAs, background check, we need your bank information so we can pay you, stuff like that. Then I'll zoom in a little bit. We assign a buddy. So right now, for those that don't have hires or it's just one other person, yeah, you are the buddy and you are the mentor. Okay. But for as you scale and as you grow your team, you definitely want to assign that person a buddy. And that buddy is they can ask any questions. There are no, and I also set the bar, set the expectation is there's no dumb questions, especially for the first 90 days. I want you to ask all the dumb questions, get it out of your system, right? So then you're not confused, you're never worried. And then your buddy's always there for you. And usually the buddy is someone that's similar in your role or someone that's more of a colleague or a peer. And then what I'm talking about right now, expectations of onboarding, what I just shared it's pretty much what I will tell or share with the new hire, your expectations. And then get to know the team and the company culture, understand company policies, mission, and values. So actually let me show you. This is what's on my wallpaper on my computer. And I look at this every single day. So in the center, mission, vision, core values, okay? And the images on the left are basically like personal objectives and then also viewpoints. So like I have a picture of the universe saying, hey, whatever dumb things I do or mistakes I made, I'm like a drop in the bucket compared to what's mass, the size of the universe. The other one is maybe someday I just want to go into space. Maybe even for 2 seconds, right? Just experience that. This is a bucket list thing. And then my wife and my family, right? This is what I'm doing it for. I look at this every single day. And in the first day, when you're sharing this to your new hire, you're sharing, why we exist. It's not just to make money, right? Every business is to make money. Every organization is here to make money to survive. But truly, what is your mission and vision, right? And so that's something that everyone can rally behind. So then, why we do what we do, talk about some testimonials, some wins, how we serve our clients, what are the wins, how do we help transform the organization, how it might be what are the KPIs, the freedom that we've given business owners, the additional revenue and profitability that was increased by that because of our offering, because of the work that we do. And it's actually not just that, but also the talents too, the opportunities that we created, the families that they were able to start because of the opportunities that we were able to offer. And then learn more about the company. So we have different brands, so more details about the company. And then I talk about that wallpaper that you just saw. And then the technical setup. So prior to the onboarding doc, we have a separate team that does this. But for you, it would be yourself. Definitely get this set up the day before, like their emails, their email account, their if they need Zoom access or Slack, any other tools, Google Drive, like access, have that set up the day before. And then we suggest like a bookmark launchpad. So essentially what that means is, so here we just say, all right, in your bookmarks, have launchpad and all the links that you're going to be using a lot, put it in this folder and put it here and call this your launchpad. So that way, it's like basically when you're here, welcome to orientation, here's a folder. And in this folder are all the references, links, and important things that you will be accessing over and over again. Day one in the morning, let's get that set up for you. The other thing we start doing, this little fun little activity, is the love language assessment. Anyone heard of it? Anyone do it? Anyone's spouse make you do it? Right? Love language is one of those things, and this is what it's just a site. You basically take a short quiz and what your love language is. And what that does, and they will put it right here. What that does is that you have a better understanding of what their love language, what really motivates them, what do they care about. And then we have them watch a video of the 90-day plan from Harvard. So what this video does is it sets the expectation and context. And this talks about, okay, if in the beginning, it's all about how can you, the new hire, be successful working here. And I do not want new hires to be afraid or there's uncertainty in what they're doing. So all of this stuff is setting clear expectations, okay? And also mindset, because this is the reality, right? You're hiring people from all over. And it's not even just a geographic location. It's like they have different preferences, religion, political views, like all these things, right? And good habits, bad habits, work experience from prior employers. So a lot of the things that we do here, it's almost like boot camp. So if you join boot camp, like the military boot camp, what do they usually do in the beginning? Anyone know? If you're like the new cadet, you're going through boot camp. What do they do? What do they do to you if you did that?
They break you and yell at you.
Yeah, they break you. They hit the reboot button, restart button. They try to clean slate. And basically we don't like trash talk or talk down on people, but it's more of okay, whatever you learned before, chances are is not it here. And that's okay. We're gonna rebuild you. And that's kind of part of this crazy onboarding process. And then what does it feel like to start a new job and how to succeed? And then watch this video on focus and improving communication, explaining internet to grandma, and then learn this little fun little hotkey game, and then respond to urgent client emails efficiently. And then this is important. Every single day, at the end of the day, their manager or their mentor, or you're asking the same questions over and over again for the next 10 days. You're asking, how did your day go? Was it what you expected? How does it compare to your previous companies you worked at? What did you like? What do you think we could improve on? And how can we help you do your best work? Day one, their answers are going to be like, oh, it's pretty good. I like it. Oh, it's nice. It's nice. Oh, it's a little different because they're not comfortable yet. You haven't built rapport. You haven't built that trust. So over time, their answers on day one versus day 10 will be different. You'll clearly see it because you're either you or them, or they're putting the answers down here, and you'll see the difference. But the point of this is to get the individuals to start thinking about, hey, I know Lucas is going to ask me this. I know Aaron's going to ask me this at the end of the day. So thinking about it, right? They're constantly thinking about it. And over time, you want to build that rapport so they can give you an honest feedback. So Lucas asked, would you recommend having all these questions or sections just starting out? What do you mean? Like just showing them everything? Or you're saying hiding these tabs? What do you mean by
Yeah,
that?
it's more about like when we're just starting out, right? Somebody that thought I'm planning on bringing on a new VA and editor, right,
Yeah.
to replace previous talent. I want to actually hire on better talent that can understand everything a lot better. And a lot of this is like very corporate, right? In terms of, okay, this is like actually serious. We've built out this huge organization. We've got all these resources, stuff that, for example, me just starting out may not have, right? May
Yeah.
not have everything built
Mhm.
out. I love a lot of this stuff. I'm just thinking, is there anything that you think maybe we should dial back at the start and then slowly incorporate it as we begin to grow as an organization? Or do you
Oh,
think
okay.
it's
Yeah.
necessary to include like everything right off the bat, even if we might not
Yeah.
have everything built out as an agency at the start?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, because it is a lot, because this is like 14 years in the making, right?
Yeah.
Good news and bad news. Good news is you have a copy of this. Like all the heavy lifting, this is 80, 90% of the work is already done for you. There's not much. And then really the bad news is that the points that as we go deeper into this, there will be pieces that are unique to our organization. You just need to swap it. You just need to change it. For example, we use Smart Suite for project management. You might be using Notion, the Notion OS, or you might be using Airtable or Monday.com or wherever that tool is. So that is a little bit. And if you don't have that ready, that's okay. That you can use that as a placeholder. You don't have to have all the details. You can just say, all right, we're going to talk about our Notion tool this day on this block. That's it. So this tool will act as a guide for you, an outline for you. And so you're not starting from scratch. Make sense?
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So moving on, how are we doing time? Yeah, we're doing okay. Day two, we talk about inbox zero, calendar, meetings, and we want everyone to use these tools. So now we're starting to get more and more hands-on because day one is more about learning. And I mean, learning like setting expectations, like mindset. And there's always a bit of that throughout the whole training, onboarding. But now over time, they're getting more and more hands-on. And notice that day one, we didn't throw them into a client project. We didn't say, all right, edit these videos. We're pacing ourselves, but there's still a lot of work to do for the individual. So morning, go over your day. And do you have any questions from yesterday's session? So from the point of at the end of the day, they had dinner or they had a meal, they went to sleep, they did their thing, and then they might have some additional questions from that during that time. We talk about the different rule of three, core strategy, prioritization, how to highlight what to. So one of the things that we do every single morning, every single one of our team members do in our Slack channel, in our team chat, everyone lists their top three items they're working on today. Not four, not 10, top three. And these are the top three items that they're aiming to accomplish for the day. So right away, we talk about that, talk about inbox zero, setting up their email signature, calendar, having productive one-on-one meetings, learn about meetings, how to effectively take meeting notes, and how to process your time off requests. And then you can see here, role specific tasks. So day two. So if I go into here, day 2 for the EA, these are all the things that the EA is learning. So now, same thing, end of the day, and then moving on to day 3. Day 3, we start digging into this tools that we use. We use Gemini a lot, so the AI tool, Gemini, and then Smart Suite is our project management tool. And when we still talk about, we have videos, it's again setting mindset of like how to diffuse procrastination and be productive. And this is a fun one, Big 5 personality test. And I'll dive right into it. This right here is what my results of the Big 5 personality test looks like. After you take a questionnaire, this is what it looks like. And it's free. That's the cool thing. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Everyone should take it. And here's the cool thing. If you have a spouse, significant other, right? Even a brother or a sister, have them take this and you can compare your personality to theirs. It's really cool. So you have these general stats like neuroticism, extroversion, openness to experience, agreeableness, and consciousness, and explains what it is. And so I go into this, and inside this category is, oh, what is my score on anxiety, anger, depression, self-consciousness, and moderation and vulnerability? And it explains further, okay, my anxiety can get pretty high, is high. What does it mean? It means to engage, right? So people who are high in anxiety often feel like something dangerous is about to happen, right? They may feel afraid of specific situations or just generally fearful. They feel tense, jittery, or nervous. Person low in anxiety are generally calm and fearless. So you want to look at over time these like personality traits, like this is just for myself. And so realizing that, let's say my anxiety is high, I need to acknowledge that and know that, okay, my anxiety is high, but why? Why is my anxiety high? What is triggering it? So I can address that. But also for others that have very low anxiety, like to me, that's like a superpower. Oh yeah, they're like YOLO, they're like super chill, or they're like smoking something. I need that drug or whatever that is, right? But there's also a pro and con to that. They're not thinking, they're not stressing out. And the client, let's say the client's calling you and they're calling them and they're like freaking out and they're like, nonchalant, whatever. It's just going to further aggravate, right, the client because their anxiety score is almost to zero, to low. So there's always that taking this type of personality test, you can basically check yourself, right? Hey, I know I'm high here. How do I lower it? Or I know I'm low here. How do I increase it? And how do I recognize that there are certain situations where I can't be too chill? And so there's other categories like extroversion, right? Openness to experience, agreeableness, and consciousness. And then this is like my results for my EA. And then the cool thing is, this is what the comparison looks like. So usually what I do in the training, in the onboarding, I walk through, at first I ask, do you agree with these results? And most of the time it's yes. Yeah, I agree. It's me. It's okay. Then we talk about, go through the details about themselves, and then we go through the comparison. And then you can see here the comparison of certain areas. So for example, there's a big difference in moderation. So what is that? We go into a moderation, and that is feel strong cravings and urges that have difficulty resisting. So let's say if you love chocolate cake and it's in front of you, you can't resist it, right? For me, it's okay, whatever. And maybe for my EA, it's, oh, she has a difficult time resisting that chocolate cake. And so for me, as the mentor, I can help coach her, right? So this we can identify that as a piece of, and also like self-consciousness, like how they feel about themselves, right? Let's see. Another thing would be friendliness, right? Maybe I'm too friendly. Yeah, that could be a problem, right? But or also my EA is like not friendly enough. So now we can talk about that. And she may think that, oh man, Dave's just way too friendly. What's going on with that? And she can help me, like, hey, Dave, you got to tone it down, right? You're sending the wrong message here. For my EA, oh man, you're too corporate. It's like cold and cutthroat here, right? Let's warm it up a little bit. So this opens up that dialogue, and you can clearly see the big differences, right? And I'm willing to bet when if you do this exercise with your significant other, The areas that are the biggest difference are usually the area that you guys argue about, okay? Or you disagree about. And so now you can look at it and say, hey, it's not that we want to argue. It's because we just have different personalities, right? And now we can talk about how we can respect that and understand each other. Make sense? So everyone's thinking like, man, I just want a video editor. Dave, why did you go into this? And I get it. I get it. Right? You just want an editor. You just want to get work off your plate. And so I want you to think of it this way. You want your editor working for you for 6 months and get okay results, or potentially them finding another better opportunity because they feel like they're not heard and they don't care. You don't care. Or do you want this individual to work for you for the next 10, 20 years? That's the difference, right? So you have to put in the effort to actually give a shit. And when you start doing that, then the individual will return the favor. You can't expect that all the time, but at least you know you're doing all you can to help someone, and hopefully they will return the favor. That's the mindset. Okay. So, anyways, so this is the Big Five. Awesome tool. Love it. And like other more technical stuff, Google Maps. We even talk about vocal exercises because also it doesn't matter where you're from. Having the being a good communicator is very important. But especially if it's on Zoom, sometimes the audio is not clear and the words are all mixed up, then it can get lost in the translation. So we talk about vocal exercises, active listening skills, and then we start digging right into leadership. So that's one of the important traits because what we're looking to do here is that every hire, every full-time hire that we bring on, we're not talking about contractors or, yeah, contractors. We want our team members to be a leader and, or at least understand how and what it takes to be a leader here. And so we start digging into learn about leadership and we could dig right in. This is a book I highly recommend, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. You get a chance, read the book, or there's even we found a YouTube video, the audio book, you can listen to it. It's a bit long, but there's 21 laws, and every day we talk about one law of leadership. We talk about Gemini and then one of the markdown tools that how markdown language works and Smart Suite and so forth. So that's day 3. And then day 4, we talk about brain types, which I'll go over in a minute. And we use Go High Level and budget requests, billable tasks, and so forth. And day 5, we have, so now they're starting to shadow. So they're starting to shadow their mentor, their leader on the things that they're doing and getting certifications and some of the tools. Day 6, we talk about the monthly capacity dashboard. They start filling out their capacity dashboard and some of the tools, additional tools. Day 7, tutorials like Canva and Google Alerts and other things. And then day 8, again, more leadership training and certification and shadowing. And same thing, day 9 and day 10. And then after day 10, we go into weeks. Okay, so same thing, weeks, but now it's more broader. And so that's how our first day is. The first 10 days are very detailed, broken down with time estimates and everything else. This is more of a pacing bit. Our expectation is for everyone to keep up on the days. You're welcome to go faster, but try not to fall behind. Okay, and that's the expectation. We've had new hires quit on the first day after seeing this. And that's okay. All right, that's okay. I would rather someone quit on the first day than quit 3 months later. Okay. So we're setting the bar up here, right? And our goal is to help the individual get to this bar and exceed it. Okay. Any questions or thoughts? Questions, thoughts?
You've been doing this for 14 years. What's the biggest recurring bottleneck or the time the part that you've had to put the most energy into? I'm sure it varies, but is there any common themes with recurring problems on onboarding employees?
A every person is a little different. So the challenge would be to get the individual to change their mindset. That's the hardest part. So imagine like you're used to doing one thing and all of a sudden you're now joining a professional sports team, like NBA level, or you're used to doing, let's say, office work, and then now you're joining a firefighting team. Like the role, even though there's some similarities, and you may be very athletically fit, but now you're joining a firefighting team and you're working with your other firefighters and you're going through these crazy drills. And so the first 10 weeks, your whole body is sore, you're mentally like exhausted, like all these things are hitting you. It's not something I'm proud of, but like we people have broken down in tears because of the intensity of the training. And it's not our intention, but also anyone that passes our onboarding, they do not recognize themselves anymore in a good way. Like they're not the same person after 3 months, after 6 months, especially after a year. And I've never had anyone regret going through this training. They usually either A, they quit, or they go through the training and they survive and thrive. So that's usually what happens. And so the biggest challenge is getting someone to the mental breakthrough and saying, all right, I got to get through this. And actually, everyone here is experiencing that right now. If you come from working for someone else, coming from a corporate environment or being a contractor to now an entrepreneur, a business owner, huge shifts, huge mindset shifts, right? And so that's one of those things that it's a big challenge in our organization for new hires. But great question. Any other questions for yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I've got one if it's somewhat related. So currently so for No Light, I have one Nova as my counterpart for the team, and then for this other agency that I do a lot of work with, or like my largest client, I actually manage a VA as well as collaborate with a colleague, and I'm functioning in this pseudo management role. What advice or wisdom do you have to offer on giving people feedback when they're not meeting expectations in a way that preserves the relationship, but still also lets them know, hey, we really need to do this. And in a way that's like, it would happen on the first time. So avoiding having to give them, say, 3 times in a row, like the same feedback, let's say.
Okay. Can you give me an example of one of the things they're struggling with?
Yeah. For example, so our VA is with that agency that I work with. He's great. He does awesome. I've been noticing I've assigned him basically to manage like the go high level pipeline for any new leads that are coming through, and as well as he's functioning also as my appointment setter. And he's been doing great on that. I'm noticing like certain things are slipping through the cracks with the process. I started by giving him training videos, just made some looms and outlined it into a step-by-step SOP with scripts and stuff. And he by no means is he doing bad or anything. Like he's doing great. I just want to make sure that as I continue to give him feedback and grow his skills, I don't, because I've been on the receiving end of like continuous feedback that didn't feel constructive, and I want to make sure I don't make those mistakes as I learn my own management skills and like just become a better leader.
Okay. So are they making mistakes setting up a high level?
Yeah, it seems like there's just little things that are slipping through the cracks with like SOPs, like follow up, for example, or confirmation calls for on the day of the actual like close call. Just like really like super small things, nothing incredibly major though. And I just want to make sure I don't overdo it while also like keeping things moving in a forward direction, because the owner also passed off management responsibility to me over him recently, and I want to make sure I continue to do a good job with that.
Okay, got it. I think there was a little bit of feedback on your mic, but I just muted you for a second. But can you hear me all right? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. That's a wonderful question, and I'll show you how I would do it. Okay? How do you pronounce your name? I don't want to butcher it.
Oh, you're good, man. It's a Christian.
Christian. Okay, thank you. So let's pretend that let's role play. Okay? Christian, I'm your leader. I like to, one of the things mindset wise, think of yourself as a mentor, okay? Mentor mindset, like a teacher, like a professor, okay? So I would say, hey, Christian, so I would try to bring you into a Zoom call, private session, right? Don't blast it on the world. Hey, Christian, can you join my room for a few minutes? There's something I want to talk to you about. Sure. Okay, you're in Zoom. So then I would say, Christian, I notice some of these go high level follow-ups and these changes, they're falling through the cracks. Can you tell me what's going on? So Christian would explain, right? That's the first thing. Never ever just drill on someone and say, hey, Christian, you're doing a crappy job, you're slow, you're making all these mistakes. No, learn. Don't shoot yourself in the foot, right? Because what happens is what if they said, oh yeah, my mother's going through cancer right now? That's horrible. And I think you're gonna feel real bad about that. So understand first, understand the person, right? So I'm trying to understand Christian, what's going on. And Christian lets me know, oh, these are just mistakes. I'll do better next time. And that's a very common response, right? I'll do better next time. So then think about if you were Yoda, right? From Star Wars, right? So be the Yoda, right? So think about, all right, so Christian, how do you get to that point? Like you're saying you do better, but let me understand that. How are you going to do better? What actions, what things are you going to do? Because reality is, oh, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to push myself harder. It's not sustainable, right? And I don't want to burn you out, Christian. I don't. I want it to be a sustainable growth here. And one of the things that I repeat over and over again, like a broken record, and everyone hears it, is that we fall and rise to our level of our systems. Christian, what can we do? What can you do to prevent these feedback pieces or these updates or missed reviews? What can you do from a system standpoint that can improve and avoid and minimize and avoid these mistakes? So I want you to start thinking, right? So Christian will start thinking about like, oh yeah, I know I have to check these things every day. So why don't I just block off my calendar an hour a day at 11 o'clock? Christian, that's a great idea. I love that. Let's do that. And you know what? I can give you an update at the end of the day, kind of give you a status update and review all this stuff every single day. Okay, Christian, that's a great idea too. Let's try that. So it's a longer process, right? Because most of us are like, okay, you know what, Christian, here's what I want you to do. I want you to update your calendar, block off every day, give me an update. But here's the thing, it's my idea, not yours. Sometimes in the beginning, you need to be a little more patient. You want to understand, try to guide, right? As a mentor, you're guiding someone. As a leader, you're guiding someone. So you're trying to guide your team member into that direction, get them to come up with the solution that makes sense. And then if let's say they're going down the path of, oh yeah, you know what? I'll just work overtime. No, I don't want people working overtime. It's actually I want people to go on vacation. I want to take vacation. I want people to take vacations. So I would ask them, you want to work overtime? Is that sustainable? Can you work 10 hours every single day for the next 20 years? Are you okay with that? Okay, no, not at all. Then it's not sustainable. We don't want to do that. You remember, you have family. Maybe you have kids. Do you want to piss off your wife? No, I don't want to piss off your wife either. So what else can we do? So we're asking questions to get, what I'm trying to do is ask Christian these types of questions to get Christian thinking. So now that's the first part. Now, let's say after this conversation, it's documented. I sent out the notes. It might be in Slack. It might be in an email. It's documented, right? We also have a one-on-one document that everyone has whenever we do one-on-one. So we document that. So now this is only half your work. The other 50% of the work is follow through. You have to follow through with this. Because it's actually, I would say, even more important than the first part. The first part is actually easy. This conversation that we're having is very easy once you get used to it, because it's not combative, right? It's more of like consultative, which everyone here should be very familiar with, because that's what you do with the clients, right? Do you tell your clients, buy my service, buy my editing service right now, right? You're stupid not to. Who actually does that and actually makes a sale? That's crazy, right? You're consultative, right? Let me learn about more of your business. What's your situation? Are you doing any video editings yourself? Are you doing any social media posts? Like, you're consultative. Apply the same techniques to your own team members. You already have this training. So now the second part is follow up. Just like what you do with your leads and prospects, I hope you follow up, right? You follow up with your team member, see how they're doing, right? And if they miss, no need to freak out. Like, oh, hey, did you get a chance to do the review? Or I noticed you didn't give me an update yesterday, right? Do you have an update? Now, here's the thing. If they still are making errors, then what we have is a three strike system. So then we fill out a form, which is our warning system. We fill it out. You don't have to have a form. You can just send out an email and officially say, this is your first warning. We already had the conversation. I didn't even give you a warning the first time. It's just a conversation. I'm hoping that you would improve and make changes, but I didn't see any changes. You're still making mistakes and you're not following what you agreed to, what you came up with. The calendar, follow a checking every day at 11 o'clock and giving me updates on the Slack channel. So I'm giving your first warning. And then you don't have to have a discussion, right? And then in the warning, I'm providing like action items. And then if they don't do it, second warning. If they still don't do it, then I provide a third warning, which puts them into PIP, Performance Improvement Plan. Oh man. So some people in the corporate world, it's almost like a death sentence, right? But I let the talent know, the team member know it's not. We have team members that have been in PIP, graduated out of PIP, and are very successful here. It's not a death sentence. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to start looking for a job. I'm not going to stop you if you are, but don't worry. But my goal now, because you're in PIP, it's going to feel a little bit more like micromanagement. You're going to start losing your autonomy. It's going to feel like we're onboarding again because I'm going to ramp up the intensity because my goal here is for you not to fail, for you not to be terminated. So this is our organization, our company policies, right? And I'm positioning it in a way where I'm following our protocol, our procedures, and my goal is to keep you. But I can't do it by myself. It's up to you. Right? You can determine that future. You see what I mean? So it's all about from the very first call, it's all about expectation and then action items on how to meet the expectations, clear guidelines. And you're probably thinking, Dave, this is a shit ton of work. Yes, it is. It is. But here's the thing. You can choose to do this, or you can choose to do the work by yourself, alone, without any help. So if, let's say, during the holidays period, you're hanging out, you're having Thanksgiving dinner, and you get sick with the flu because you caught it from your niece or your nephew, and you're working by yourself, your business stops. It goes to a halt because you didn't make the investment of building your team up. And so that's the thing, right? It's like I would much rather put in the effort, investing my time into my team and setting expectations. And if it doesn't work out, then yeah, they got to go. And I bring on someone else, go through this onboarding process, which is documented, and the whole process repeats itself. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. You know what that is? Is that as you grow, like right now, I'm at 21, team of 21, 22, I think it's 22 now with a recent new hire. We have leaders in the team. So we have team leads. I don't do the onboarding for all the new hires. Like we have other leaders, we have other colleagues, other team members that are doing it. So I'm not, like right now, it's just temporary. It's just another hill you need to climb. So your first hill is get the sales, build your system, right? Generate some revenue and profits, and take the profits and start hiring, bring on your first hire, your second, and your third hire. And then your second hill is, all right, I'm doing this all by myself as a leader and developing my team. And then of your team members, you will find leaders, like team leads. So promote the individuals. And then from there, they're helping you train and develop others. So you're developing leaders to lead others. That's the name of the game. And so hopefully someday, someone in your organization can take your job. I welcome anyone to take the CEO president position, right? I just want to sit on the board, okay? Maybe someday I'll start a foundation, right? So if anyone is willing and has the training and won't crash the organization to the ground, the role is theirs. And that's what everyone should really be thinking about, is that you don't want to sit in the president role forever, right? Because eventually you may want to sell your company and you absolutely won't be in that role, right? Anyways, I digress. So, Christian, does that help?
That was super helpful. Thank you. So it's basically, it's like a sales call, but instead of getting somebody to buy something, you're getting them to buy into the idea of improvement, and then just helping them feel empowered to actually do that, and also making sure that expectations and desired outcomes are very clear, such that them failing would be harder than them succeeding.
Bingo, bingo. Yeah, so everyone, that's why sales training is so important. Being good in sales is really important. But also negotiations, this is all part of communications. All of this is you're building your foundation to be a stronger leader. Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, yeah, feel free. Anyone else have any questions, drop it in chat. We're almost done. So I'll wrap up. We talked about the human element, so the love language piece, and the big five personality. And we talk about what is your brain type. And this is actually one of the videos that it's by this YouTuber called Koi. And he at one point he was actually part of Agency U. So I don't know if he's still part of it, but he's some really good content. So understanding what your brain type is. So Kasune is creative, spontaneous, and charismatic. And if you're a Torah, you're competitive, passionate, and confident. And if you're Akuma, you're calm, patient, and compassionate. So it's just understand how your brain works. And so this is from Koi, highly recommended. To wrap up, question for everyone. What parts of your onboarding, now you see how we operate with our own onboarding, what parts of your onboarding needs work?
Hey Dave, I actually also have a question on top of that. It goes into what parts of our onboarding also needs work. With ourselves launching the new offer previously, I was working with a couple contractors underneath us. It's unsustainable, right? Margins are not great. And then learning, going through all the modules, it's like there's a whole new system that I got to implement, right? In terms of getting actually good editing quality, good project management, and actually having sustainable margins that can keep the whole thing and whole operations afloat while I'm delivering excellent service to the clients. So right now we're launching the Momentum campaign next 2 weeks. I'm very expecting to close some deals, right? And actually get some clients onboarded. And again, the first 7 days are very crucial to setting up the systems, getting some results early as quick as possible. So my question is somebody who's in this position where I'm transitioning from these not so great contractors that were unsustainable into bringing on new talent that I want to have long term, have the correct onboarding procedures, and go through that 3 month training process while also concurrently signing new clients. How do I balance necessarily testing out their skills and doing product fulfillment for these clients at the same time? Because I want to, like in this onboarding tutorial, there's like a good period of time where you're just focusing on the character development. You're not even focusing on the technical skills, focusing on the individual, growing them, teaching them, and then you get into the technical components, the shadowing and everything. What would you recommend for somebody who's I have these contractors not doing that great, I want to branch away from them, start hiring new talent for these new clients and the new package and everything? How do you balance that?
Yeah. So you're ultimately asking, like, how can I have someone start working on my billable work, right? My my video edits as soon as possible, really, while being successful in the onboarding. What I would say is that, like, this onboarding, you don't have to follow it to the T. If there's, let's say, projects that you need you need help with, start with a small little project and delegate it over to your new hire. Okay. So it might be a video editor, so there'll be a small video. Do you have an executive assistant?
We used to have a VA, but right now, when we went to agency, we took a pause because I'm like restructuring
Okay,
everything.
yeah. Like for example, if you hire an EA, your EA could help organize all this, help streamline
Hmm.
the onboarding. And also, if your contractors are not doing well, it may be a replacement of a contractor, not necessarily a full-time immediately. Like just for the interim, right? Just
Yeah,
so we're talking like the next 3 months. So you just, and also they act as a backup too. Okay.
yeah.
So
That's actually a really good idea because that's exactly what I had in mind. Was there's another contractor that's actually more sustainable, gotten better results for a better price. So I was like thinking about having that as a backup as we begin to train, delegating, and managing both of them as we begin to onboard successfully. So eventually can have an actual team in-house that can do the full operations sustainably and within the actual brand and company vision.
yeah, yeah. It's in the beginning, it's a little slower unless every person is a little different, right? I don't know what your time availability is and how much stress you can take on. And so there's a lot of factors. And plus, do you have reserves and do you have cash flow? All these are factors.
Yeah.
And also risk. Some individuals are more risk averse. So they're like, oh man, I want to take it as slow as possible. But others are like, yeah, balls to the walls. I'm gonna hire 3 people and I have the funds or have the cash flow. It's a little riskier, but I'm all in. I don't even look back. And so every individual's tolerance is a little different. But I look at it and say, all right, as long as we have the cash flow coming in, this is a investment. And not all investment will return a positive ROI. So that's why to maximize or ensure the investment, the ROI is there for the new hire, we have this onboarding process.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. So any other
Man,
questions? Yes, Aaron.
you're the man, Dave.
Ah, thank you, thank
I'm
you.
in a similar position as Luke. It's really, I just moved out here to LA to expand the music and marketing, and the reason I put 1 to 3 is because because I don't know who's ready to ride or not, dude. I'm trying people out for that 90 days, and I gotta be willing to cut early if I don't think it's a good fit, but
Yeah,
also willing to let people develop. And I think it's like stepping into that leadership role, expecting to eat glass and not complaining about it, just doing the next step and setting up the systems, making some sales, and meet up with some good people.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, what I would say too, as everyone's super, super busy, I do a lot of, I try to optimize my own time. So time blocking, just different productivity hacks. You want to maximize your time as much as possible. There's other conversations that other training sessions I've done where what my EA does for me, but you can start doing it yourself, like managing your calendar, color code everything. So I'm gonna share and just having everything organized in certain time blocks or certain days. Like, these are the days that I'm doing sales calls. These are the or time blocks or days that I'm doing client review or client meetings. And then these are the time and the days that I'm looking to hire or develop my team. So you just have to have that time block and be consistent and grind this out.
You're gonna make it to space one day, Dave. I firmly believe it, bro. If you can onboard that, dude, it's gonna be the easiest onboarding process to space, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm
Thank
really
you.
thankful
Yeah,
for this call,
that's our
dude.
goal. Oh, appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. So anyways, I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time. If you have any other questions, feel free. You can always DM me in the agency use Slack. And also if you have any other topics you want me to cover, I can always cover it. And so my area is the team building, talent acquisition. So those are my areas that I usually cover. So anyways, have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everyone. See ya. Bye.